Did the Demogorgon get its name because a medieval monk couldn't spell the word for creator? What scene echoes the Odyssey? And is Will Byers a hero, a victim, or is he the key that opens the doorway to the ancient Greek underworld? Welcome to Not Another Greek History Podcast, the podcast that aims to be exactly what it says. I'm your host, Onouphrios Dovlepis, and together we'll discover the not-so-frequently told stories of Greece's history that will change the way you view things forever. Welcome back to Not Another Greek History Podcast, the show where we prove that everything, even 80s supernatural horror, has roots in the ancient world. I totally love the 80s aesthetics, by the way, and synth music as well. And I do have a list that I will put in this episode's description, so make sure that you listen to it. So today we're celebrating the launch of Stranger Things Season 5, and we're zeroing in on the franchise's first and most memorable monster, the Demogorgon. You see it, it's terrifying, it has that orchid face, but its name, that is a beautiful accident. The show's creators got the name from Dungeons and Dragons, but the word Demogorgon itself does not exist in original Greek mythology. So where does it come from? To get to the origins, we have to go back to the 4th century BC Athens, and specifically to a student of the great philosopher, the greatest philosopher of Europe, Socrates. And his student was the renowned philosopher Plato. In Plato's work, Timaeus, we have the philosophical concept of the Demiurgos. Demiurg would be in English. Demiurgos. He is the craftsman or maker responsible for creating the physical universe. In some later Gnostic philosophies, the demiurge was considered a flawed or even evil creator of the imperfect physical world. So keep that in mind. Now let's get to the misreading. A scribe at some point likely misread Demiurgon, the form Demiurgon, of the noun Demiurgos. Demiurgon is the accusative that you don't really have in English anymore. You only use it when it comes to the word who. And you say, who is this? Whom did you see? So that whom, that form, is like Demiurgon. So that scribe mistakenly combined elements that resemble Greek words like demos, which means people, and gorgon, the monster Medusa or her sisters. In reality, the word demiurgos has the word demos in it, which means people, hence the word democracy, power to the people. And it also has the word ergon, which means work. So it means someone who works for the people or that creates, let's say, the people. And from the word ergon, we have the word ergonomic, which is things that are designed, for example, for efficiency and comfort. We say ergonomic chair. So the scribe mixed up the letters and boom, Demogorgon was born. What is the evolution of the name? Starting in the 14th century, writers such as Boccaccio from Italy, for instance, popularized Demogorgon as a powerful primal god, sometimes even cited as the father of all Greek gods. No, that is nowhere near true. I had never even heard of this before the show. Later on, writers ran with it, describing this made-up name as a primal, powerful deity of chaos, another word from Greek. By the medieval period, it had evolved into a powerful, ambiguous demon associated with the underworld. Demon, by the way, is another word from Greek. The word is daemon, and it just means divine. It doesn't mean evil. It became something bad, I guess, through Christianity. So let's go now to the Stranger Things Season 5, Episode 1, The Crawl. I would like just to give you an idea about when the seasons were released for the first time. The first season was released on July 15th, 2016. The second one was in 2017. The third was in July 2019. The fourth was 3 years later, May 2022, May and July. And the last one on November 26th, 2025, with some episodes coming up on December 25th and December 31st, 2025. So the last season actually comes 3 years, 3.5 years after the fourth season. Of course, it coincides with really important holidays, Christmas, of course, and New Year's Eve, as well as Thanksgiving, which is on November 26th, 2025. And I did a whole episode about Thanksgiving and its connection to ancient Greece right before this episode. So check it out. So it's been part of our lives for roughly a decade. I watched it for the first time when it was released back then and not years later. So I've been watching this practically for the past almost 10 years. The final season, set in 1987, ironically 2 years after I was born, opens with The Crawl, and it's a chapter that focuses on grief, trauma, another word from Greek, by the way, and it's mapping the final battleground. What is the core plot now? The episode immediately dives into the aftermath of the season 4 finale, with Hawkins under military quarantine as the Upside Down's rift continues to bleed its decay into the world. Wow. Our heroes, hero, another word from Greek, by the way, and so is the word episode. Our heroes are united by the goal of finding and destroying Vecna, whose name I really love. Now we get to the big flashback. The most powerful, impactful part of the episode is a flashback to Will's time trapped in the Upside Down in 1983. For the first time, we witness his chilling initial encounter with Vecna, who uses his tentacles to infect Will. Did anyone else get alien vibes here? This scene is pivotal, confirming that Vecna's connection to Will is ancient and necessary for his ultimate plan. The premiere does excellent work setting the stage for the main characters. I know you're gonna hate me now. Character is another word from Greek. Eleven is stronger but more burdened, realizing the full weight of her role as the final weapon. Nevertheless, Max is still in a coma, and I have to say that Sadie Sink did a great job in the last season. I'm really glad it really focused on her, because I think she's a great actress and she has a lot to do. And she has done something. Some of those kids managed to do something over this past decade, more or less. Sadie Sink was the one who played in The Whale with Brendan Fraser. And I have to say, hopefully, Sadie Sink, you're listening. You were robbed of an Oscar nomination, at least a nomination, for supporting actress. And I'm also glad that it was part of this the show that we listened again, that it became better known, to the amazing song by Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill, which did much, much better than during its first run in 1985, I think, when it had reached only number 30 in the United States. And 3 years ago, it reached number 3, almost number 1. But anyway, still, that was a great comeback. And to be honest, I don't really get sometimes how some songs don't really make it, don't do well in the United States, but they do really well in Europe. Very different way to approach music in Europe and the United States. But anyway, let's get back to the characters. The episode makes it clear that Will's role is critical to the end game. That kind of was necessary in a way because the show really started focusing on Will quite a lot. It began like that, but then at some point, gradually, Will kind of faded in the background. So I think it was necessary for him to kind of make a comeback. I was really thinking about this. So what is the verdict? Well, while the episode is somewhat clunky, with necessary exposition to catch up the audience after this long wait of 3.5 years, it delivers a massive emotional punch and successfully raises the tension, I would say. And I gotta say also that I admire the writing of the Duffer Brothers, who managed to create complete characters and produce quite long episodes. Some are long enough to be movies. What about the season 4 finale? Over 2 hours, right? Speaking of season 4, in an episode, Jim Hopper defeats a Demogorgon in a Soviet prison by using a sharp log which he sets on fire. So we have a parallel between this confrontation and the scene from Homer's The Odyssey. It mirrors the classical scene where the Greek hero Odysseus blinds the one-eyed giant Polyphemus, who was a cyclops, by plunging a sharp, fiery stake into his eye. Duffer Brothers, obviously, if you're listening, give me a call. I would love to be in one of your shows. I'm just saying, okay? You never know. So, guys, that was the real connection of Stranger Things and Greece. The Demogorgon monster in the show lives in the Upside Down, a dark, chaotic dimension. It's the show's perfect version of the ancient abyss or the underworld. That is why the name works. Even if it's an accidental name, the monster embodies the chaos and fear it came to represent in later Western literature. So whether you're a fan of accidental Greek wordplay or epic ace horror, Stranger Things continues to deliver. So join me next time as we look at only God knows what. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. Until next time, this is Onoufilos Dovletis signing off from Not Another Greek History Podcast.